number. This girl's 35 years old, gorgeous. I'm 16 years old. She's like, please, I'll do anything. She goes, here's $20.
Hold on one second. Chris, do not touch that again.
All right.
Disconnected when you.
The girl goes, I'll do anything.
It was in front of my mug. All right.
Please, just give me his number. Here's $20. I was so nervous because she was so beautiful. I said 395-1212. I gave him the Medford police phone number. I was selling the Medford police phone number between $900 and $1,200 a week. It was so bad that I was tying up the 911 line for everybody looking for dancers. They sent two detectives to go see Chris Scott, the owner of the Palace. And he walks up and he goes, it's got to be that Depesa kid. So they came up to me, they called me in the office and said, Pete, are you doing anything? I said, listen, I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my job. I'm getting paid $4 an hour. My uncle just had a stroke. I got to take care of him. My mother's a single mother. She's trying to raise two boys. I'm helping her with money. I'm making a little extra money on the side. What are you doing? I'm selling the Medford police phone number for $20. What? Give me your grandmother's phone number. He said, you think I want these girls calling my grandmother at 3 a.m? So I had to shut that gig down. So you go from making, $900, $1,100, $1,200 a week extra in cash, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Back then. I mean, you're talking like $5,000 today. So all of a sudden, I went to Fine Leeds Basements. If anybody knows what Fine Leeds Basement is, everybody shot there back in the downtown crossing.
Definitely.
So I went there and I bought a case of underwear. We go back to Carlson Cotty's house. The mother had the plastic on the dining room table, and I have rows and rows and rows of underwear. The mother walks in and goes, what are you doing? I got this, Mrs. C. Don't worry about it. I was autographing the dancers' names on the underwear. So you know where this is going. The next big show, there's 800 women inside the show seeing the Men in Motion show. And I said, would you like to buy a pair of autograph underwear? $5 each. They said, what? The girl goes, well, there's 5 people in our group. I said, okay, for $50, I'll sell you a pair of underwear. They collected $5. Collect $10 from this person. I was doing $800 to $1,000 a day selling underwear. The hustle was back on.
Shit. So not only did you have at a young age the mindset of running a business or designing something that you wanted to push yourself forward in, what made you decide to go that way instead of taking a normal job? Like what made you turn around and say, you know what? I'm working at the Palace, right? I'm doing good here. I'm making $4 an hour, but let me see what else I can do.
Because everybody I've seen working 9 to 5 is a trap. So unless you invest your money, all the money is being really made, like Warren Buffett, investments, real estate investments. So working 9 to 5, you're buying yourself. It's a form of slavery, in my opinion. You have to, go get up in the morning, a job that you don't like. I like the hustle. I like doing multiple things, but the reward and the risk, it happens. So, I mean, trust me, it wasn't all roses. I mean, I failed in a lot of businesses. I went
so
rock
What did
bottom.
you learn? What did you learn from those experiences? The ones that you failed.
Don't make that mistake again. So if you like, for instance, we were in the cleaning business, and all of a sudden the floodgates open up, and a lot of Brazilians were coming over to America, and all they could do was open the cleaning business. So you went from making $100 to clean something down to the going rate was $25 because they were just doing it to hustle. They were hustling themselves, and you respect them. You know what I'm saying? Because they were doing what I probably would have done.
Yeah.
So from there we went into the rubbish business. I had a partner, and we were building up a successful rubbish business called National Waste Systems. And we were at a point that Laidlaw, the bus company, wanted to buy us out. And then me and my brother went to a funeral, and we come back to our shop, and everything was gone. I said, we got robbed. Come to find out, our partner stole everything, sold it for cash, took to Florida. So I'm like, this is crazy. So we didn't have the money to leave, go to court and sue them. And if you do, how you get the money back? I mean, I had $2 in my pocket, and all of a sudden I'm going to sue this guy and get nothing. So we went back in the cleaning business, and we started hustling. And then from there, I'm like, I'm tired of getting up at 3 a.m, working 15 hours, cleaning floors. And I was cleaning a rug at Bambino's in Malden. And I'll never forget, I found this business plan. So I said, bro, finish the cleaning. I ended up reading on the dining room table this business plan. There was a restaurant called Baldini's.
Yep.
So Baldini's was in Boston, and they were actually competing against McDonald's. So it was an Italian takeout place where you could go on the way home and grab meatballs, eggplant, lasagna. I'm like, bro, we can do this. He goes, bro, we don't know how to cook. I said, how hard can it be to cook? You know what I'm saying? How hard can it be?
You know how to eat pizza.
So
you know
from
how to
there, we
cook.
know what good food is.
Yeah.
So
Hi, your
back,
mother.
so back in 1994, we opened up our first restaurant in Reading, Massachusetts,
Oh God.
and we had no idea even how to cook. And then from there, just my great personality.
Hold on. You can't just stop there. You can't just say I went from this to that. So now you open up a restaurant. I've known you my whole life. I never knew you were a chef.
I'm not a chef.
So how would you open up a restaurant?
Because I had big balls. I'm gonna open it up, and we hired.
So you had chefs.
We hired 2 chefs, and then we realized we couldn't afford to pay the chefs. So I immediately went to culinary school, Cambridge Culinary, in Mass Ave in Cambridge, and obviously I'm a talker, so we're talking, and all of a sudden one of the probably with the months, and I'm learning how to cook, and I'm like, I'm learning more from Mrs. Sicardi, I'm learning more from my mother, I'm learning more from this. So I started cooking more, and all of a sudden, our project for the day was to write a business plan.
Yeah.
And to open, write a business plan, go to the bank, get money. The week prior, before I opened my mouth to the teacher, I said, I had shrimp scampi in the menu. And I showed her, she goes, shrimp scampi, that doesn't exist. I said, what do you mean? She goes, shrimp scampi in Italian just means shrimp. And I said, well, listen, I don't have the money or the time to make America knowledgeable about shrimp. It's staying shrimp scampi. So she got mad because I was talking back to her.
Yeah.
So the following week in class, we got to write a business plan. I said, first of all, this is wrong. There's not a bank in the country that's going to give any one of these people in this room $1 million to open up a restaurant.
So you're doing the Peter thing, stirring up the shit.
You're going to give false hope.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you talking about? I said, maybe back when you open up your restaurant, they give a monkey with a signature money.
Yeah.
The banks today are not giving money to open a restaurant with 85% fee.
Okay.
She says, Peter, if I give you your certificate now, you'll leave. I said, absolutely. Gave me my certificate. I held it on the wall.
Shit.
We fired the 2 cooks, and me and my brothers just started practicing. And now I can actually cook. But back in the day, next I'm on Boston Magazine as one of the top chefs.
Yeah, I remember Phantom Gourmet. I remember seeing you
with Billy Costa.
You and your brother looking all handsome.
Then we got invited to be on the Food Network. Me and my brother represented the city of Boston.
Who?
Me and my brother.
No, I know. I said who? Give him a shout out.
Robin.
There you go. Robin, his brother Robin. That's it. Give him a shout out.
Nice.
So listen, Peter. So obviously, you've done a lot at a young age.
Yes.
You've had failures. You've had accomplishments. How is it that you tend to have the same friends, or have you met new people that have now believe they're friends? Like, where's your separation from understanding that you know where you were before? Because I remember when we were kids, hanging out at Club 54, all of us hanging out, having soda waters, dancing, having a good time. Actually, I remember being on the stage with Chris and jumping off, and Chris ripping off his shirt to flex up. We're doing a hot body contest. That's just in case you don't remember. Chris used to go with me all the time. But I'm trying to figure out, because I've been in your life for so many times, and even though I'm not there all the time, like, you've met a close friend of mine that you are very close to. Also, Garrett Christopher, great guy, great family.
He likes my personality better. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know if it's your personality or your pockets. I don't know.
He has plenty of pockets. You don't need my pockets.
He has got big pockets. But what I've always noticed is this: if I'm somewhere, I always seem to be somewhere where someone will drop your name. And I've never seen these people a day in my life, even though I know life goes on and you meet new people. How do you separate yourself which we're not discussing where you're at now, but how do you separate yourself to understanding that these people are just there because of where you are now?
Well, there's acquaintances, and then there's friends, and then there's family. So it's almost 3 different categories.
Winnie's, because a shout out, she said she loves Phantom Gourmet.
Nice. I'll have to come over and cook for her. So from there, you have, like I said, you have acquaintances, friends, and then you have family. And a lot of your friends become your family. But you have to separate how people treat you. So I treat people how I want to be treated. I respect them. I respect their privacy. I respect their loyalty. So when people become disloyal to you, then you separate them. They go off to maybe the acquaintance list. And then if they really do you dirty, they're off the a tire list. So we all had people. I mean, I believe God puts people in your life for different reasons, and they take them out of your life for different reasons. So, but you don't have to be a true friend or a true family member to see each other every day. There's some people I don't talk to for 5 years, calls me on the phone, and we pick up like it never even lost. You know what I'm saying? People they go their own paths. Some people, you know what I'm saying, they become recluse. Some people, you don't want to be flashy and stuff like that. But I believe true friendship, you're going to go through ups and downs, and you should be able to talk to people. Like if I said something out of line to you, you should be able to call me up and say, hey, Pete, the other night, you know, you were a little out of line. What do you mean, Felipe? What did you said something wrong? I was like, you know what? You're right. Let me apologize. If I'm really a friend, you're going to accept the apology. Don't break my balls 10 years down the road and bring it up again. We already ended it.
I appreciate you've always accepted mine. So back in my drinking days, I would show up at your spots and I would get in a fight or get in something stupid. I do appreciate how you grab me and go, come here. Let's just talk.
Absolutely.
You know, I'd like to bring up an incident one day, which Peter looked out for me. I was up there and I was having a few drinks and I had a good old friend of mine, John Murphy. And there was a gentleman that was a ex-convict. And this guy used to talk so much shit. And because he had money or whatever, he basically was making a statement that when he sees me out in the street, he's going to do something. So I opened up a closet door and I said, come on in and see me. And me and you can handle this private. Nobody has to know. You don't have to rat me out. Let's go handle business. That little scumbag went and ratted me out. So I ended up being suspended because he's a straight out bitch in plain English. I was at your club standing there at the bar. I got revved up. I had a few jacks in me. I see him. I go up, tell him to stand up because I don't hit anybody sitting down. Stand the fuck up.
I would have hit him sitting down.
Nope.
I would have cracked him.
You came running over to me and you said, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. And I said, what? And you go, I'll get him out of the club right now. I'll get him out of the club right now. You got my word on it. And I says, all right. And I walked back. You bought me a drink. And I didn't respect you. I counted 5 seconds. You didn't get him out. I ran over there, threw him through the ground, and then he started getting up. I threw him through the doors, and then you came over and grabbed me. And one thing I could say, back in the day, you would have been over there bundling him with me.
Absolutely.
And, but I
get too many lawsuits against me.
I've always wanted, because the funny thing is, I forgot all about that story except 3 weeks ago. John goes, oh my God, we used to roll up there in the daytime, you know, and go see him and hang out for a little bit. He goes, remember that day? And I go, oh shit, I got to apologize for that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, go ahead. You know,
that was before I even owned the place.
That's
how long. Yeah, that's how long. I was managing it.
Oh shit,
that's how long it goes back.
Damn.
But I'd probably act like I owned it anyhow. I mean, I'm running the number one club in Boston at the time. But I always act like I own.
Peter, I don't know how to take this. My wife just writes, yes, I want to try Peter's meatballs.
We're going to keep this PG right now.
I know.
Absolutely. We'll take the ground beef. We'll be all set. I'll cook whatever you want.
I don't even know. I guess that relationship didn't last that long.
Nice. Looks like we're getting takeout tonight, honey.
But yeah, so now let's move forward. So now you own, tell me what you own, Pete, right now. Well, you and your brother, Robert.
So I have the Golden Banana on Route 1 in Peabody. I
want to stop you for a second.
Yes.
Because stories I always get, it was gifted to you because your grandfather owned it. Can we just and this is all because he's connected, he's this and that. First of all,
connected to the light post.
What nationality are you, Peter?
Italian and Portuguese.
Oh, so you're a half-breed.
Not half-breed. We're 95% Italian, 5% Portuguese.
Listen, you're Portuguese. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. So the sad part is I always hear, the wise guys, this and that. I'm going to be honest with you. I've known you basically always since we were kids. I remember your brother was driving a sidekick. You know, you guys.
The Suzuki Samurai.
Oh.
He buys it. He buys a car.
Oh, Jesus.
Never knew how to drive a Standard. He called me up in Quincy. He goes, bro. He goes, what? He goes, I just bought a car. I have no idea how to drive it. We had to go down there and we had to drive it home for him and teach him.
I hope this was when he was 17.
Yes.
Oh, we were all kids. But I'm talking about, and it kind of, it makes me kind of laugh when I hear, because I know what you put into it. I knew you had your restaurants. I know you busted your ass to get where it was. Nothing was.
So let's go back to that when what do you call that, myth, or urban legend about it was gifted by my grandfather. First of all my grandparents passed away way before I was even in the cleaning business. Second of all, my grandparents were poor.
You mean cleaning business, real cleaning business,
Real cleaning
not
business.
cleaning,
No.
quote unquote cleaning business.
So when I was cleaning the Squire Lounge, the owner, Peter Fumaro, who owned the Squire nightclub, took a liking to me. So he became like a mentor or a father figure. And he used to call everybody, this is my nephew. We weren't blood related. We were just very close. So back in 1994, when I was working for him, I needed to get paid. I was looking to start a family. I can't work for $200 a week. So I told him what I needed to get paid. He said, "You're fired." I said, "What? I'm fired." I said, "Listen, I'm staying 30 days. But after 30 days, if you ask me to come back to help you manage the place, I now want 15% ownership added to the pay that I wanted." "You're stubborn, this and that." "I'm stubborn. You taught me. I'm doing exactly what you taught me." So I opened up the restaurant. Unfortunately, when he passed away, he also owned the Golden Banana. So the Golden Banana was shut down for 4 years because they were going through a litigation between the landlord and Peter Fumaro owned the club.
So, and I'm sorry, because I want to make sure I know this, because somebody had asked me this. So the club is not the same as the property, correct? Or is
Correct.
the property's
different.
So there's two owners of it. So there's the person that owns.
So the person that owned the Golden Banana at the time was Louis Depesa. Louis Depesa had to sell the nightclub business because of the Peabody Police Department through that whole scandal. They made him get out of the business. He sold it to a lawyer. The lawyer sold the club to Peter Fumaro because Peter Fumaro wanted to own all three clubs. He wanted the Squire, the Banana, and the Cabaret. So
kind of like you.
nothing wrong. So now, when that Warwick, Rhode Island fire happened, what was the name of that big disaster? The nightclub.
Yeah.
I remember
So
that.
they had to upgrade all nightclubs. So they had to put a sprinkler system in the Golden Banana. Well, Peter Fumaro told the landlord, "You own the building. You're responsible for it." The landlord says, "You're the tenant. You're responsible for it." So for a $200,000 sprinkler system, you have two stubborn Italians went to court. Peter Fumaro spent $650,000 in legal bills.
Over a stupid sprinkler.
Louis Depesa spent $750,000.
Jesus. Get the hell out.
Peter Fumaro ended up winning in court. A month later, he passed away.
Oh,
now the club needs to open back up. You have to put sprinklers in it. So we went to his daughter and we said, we would like to buy it. So she's like, "My father spent $5 million on it." I said, "Well, I don't have $5 million. Let's cut this meeting real short." I said, "But I could probably come up with $1 million. I can't take it." I said, "Okay." So they're going to lose it. So I went to him. I said, "You're going to lose it. I'm going to take the chance. They're going to lose the license. I can open this up." So we come up with $1 million and we buy.
And you never invited me into this, but go ahead.
We buy the Golden Banana. So from there, we had the place opened and we were about to open the doors and the city of Peabody took the liquor license. So now we have to spend $200,000, which we didn't have, to go back to court.
So why'd they take the liquor license?
Because they thought they tried to say that the building was closed for 4 years, so it was deemed a dead license. So we finally got the license back and we opened up. So and it was a great 20 years we had, and then about, I want to say 13, 14 years ago, when the kids were ready to sell the Squire, we bought the Squire Club, the liquor license. We also bought the property.
Nice.
We had a partner, Mark Filtrante, really dear friend of mine. He owned Tens. And when he retired from Tens, me and my brother bought Tens. We also bought the parking lot surrounding Tens. So that's how we got to this level.
Which you have a portable restaurant or something that's only open in the
We had the
summertime?
Sandlot that's open in the summertime, but now we're actually gonna build on that lot. We're gonna probably put 40 units, facing the water, condos.
Nice.
But nothing was handed to me and my brother. We still have millions and millions and millions of loans out there. So if anybody ever wants to check my books, come see me. Nothing was given to me.
Oh, come on. Trust me, I know that. So one of my questions, I found it pretty interesting. We're going to go back a few steps. You had discussed, or you had stated that family.
Yes.
So at the time you were dealing with all this, got married, had
Yes.
kids and things like that. How hard was it to have a gentleman's club and have that trust and relationship?
Well, I was already divorced before I opened up with the club.
Okay,
So,
this had nothing. The divorce had nothing
nothing
to
to
do
do
with
with
the
it.
club.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, my ex-wife was a beautiful woman. She raised two beautiful children. I have nothing bad to say about her. It grew apart. So, uh, the relationship is no matter what club you have, whether it's a sports bar, a nightclub, a strip club, there's always a drain on a relationship. So you gotta understand something. When you start dating somebody or you're going out with somebody, you're realizing your man or wife is going to look at beautiful women every day. You know, but I was so immune to it. It's like the only way I can describe it is you can't eat pizza every day.
Hmm.
So like I remember being in the restaurant business, and on Sunday we would have Chinese food delivered at the bar, and it was like, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "I can't eat Italian food every day, I don't have the time to go out to a restaurant, so I have it delivered. I eat the Chinese food." So these girls that work for me actually, you don't even realize they're in the building at that point because you're too busy worrying about you coming in and starting a fight. So there's 10 of you that are looking to start a fight.
What the hell are you pointing at me for? Screw your ass. I just caught
Then you're gonna
that. I'm
worry
like, what the
about.
hell
Then
you
you're gonna worry
pressing
about, who's getting overserved Jack and Coke, who's trying to, steal from you. I mean, you're gonna steal. You have 200 people working for you in an all cash business. Everybody becomes a thief. So and we'll get back to in a second. The closest people that steal from you are the ones that you think are your friends or family.
Well, I'm going to stop you there. I remember one day when me and you were talking, and I was upstairs in a room, and I don't know how much money you had there. You had to be, I don't even know, 100, 200, 300,000. You had a count.
Now he's gonna get me robbed.
Card counter there, whatever.
It was all play money. We
Yeah,
were shooting a movie that
whatever.
day.
Yeah.
Trust me, you ain't
Yeah.
getting in
Monopoly.
this room. If I tell you you're not getting in this room, you ain't getting in this room. But I find it, and I felt very flattered when you said that. A guy came up to get you, had to handle something. You said, "I'll be right back." I sat there and I was on my phone. All of a sudden, I catch someone staring at me. Hey, what the fuck's this guy staring at? Then he runs downstairs and says, "Yo, you left the money down." And you go, "I can leave anything in front of him. He's the last person I have to worry about."
I would have more money when I came back.
Yeah, I was like,
He'd take $10 out of his pocket and add it to his pile.
And I appreciate that, but it goes to show you that outside people that don't understand things, they just automatically blank statement think things.
100%.
But go ahead.
Wait, I got a quick question.
Yes.
On the banana purchase, was that the building or is that the building and the business?
No, so we bought the land is owned by the Depesea Realty Group, the trust. So I was just talking just before we came to the podcast with a guy down the hallway, real estate. It's just they're gonna keep it. They own the gas station, they own the property out back. So I don't think they're ever gonna sell the land.
So that's crazy.
So
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. $1 million just for the freaking business.
just for the license. But
Yeah.
but but I should come back to. We also had to put 1.5 million into renovations. So I had $2 in my pocket. I had to come up with 2.5 million to open the doors. That's it's a lot of money. And then so today, but that's going back 20 years ago. So today you're probably looking at 9 to 11 million to buy something like that today. So it's you just can't go to a bank. And speaking of that, we thought we can go to the bank and get the money for remodeling. And I'll never forget, I was talking to Jack O'Neill from Danvers Savings Bank, who gave us an SBA loan to open the restaurants, our second restaurant. He gave us 250,000, and I think we paid it off in like 4 years. It was like probably a 10-year loan. And I went to him. I said, "Hey, I need $1 million to renovate." He goes, "Pete, I'd love to help you out, but we can't do it." I said, "What do you mean? You gave me an SBA loan for 250,000. We paid it off." He goes, "Pete, it has nothing to do with your payments. It has nothing to do with your credit. We cannot have sex in our books." I'm like, "Sex? What are you talking about, sex? There's no sex going on in
Yeah,
there."
there's no touching.
I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "We can't have that on our books. No bank is going to lend you money." So now this is new to the game saying, okay, I'm in a business where I can't even get a bank loan. So when I go back to people say, "Oh, his grandfather handed it to me," I like to see people go try to open up a club without using
I
banks.
actually remember when during COVID time, me and you were talking, and I was
Oh.
asking you if you were filing for the loans because I lost large amount of business. I went from 228 employees all the way down to 70 because all businesses closed. And you had stated that because you owned a club, right?
Well,
that you weren't allowed to because it was subcontract. Oh, I forget how.
So due to the prudent nature of our business,
That's a big word for me, bro.
I said, I didn't even know how do you even spell prudent? What does
Yeah.
prudent even mean?
Explain what it means.
I still don't know what it means to this day. So
Wait, if you're on, explain it.
all I can tell you is when we applied for the PPP money, and it boggles my mind because JRM got $26 million. The rubbish company never shut down one day. We're looking to get 500,000 just to keep afloat our employees. So we got approved. Wise?
Means wise.
I don't know. It's
Well,
okay.
prudent.
Anyhow, we got approved at the Golden Banana for 500,000. So we're like, wow, it's gonna be a little relief. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, it took us like 4 months into COVID to try to get that money. Every 2 weeks, the insurance company used to come to our building to make sure we weren't going to burn it down. They sent somebody in. So I'm legit going, I'm going to lose all my money. I was looking, to settle down, and now all of a sudden I'm going to set my life back. And I'm like, mentally, what I'm saying? I'm like trying to keep it together. And I'll never forget my a friend of mine, Eric, came in and said, "Bro, what are you're happy? You're sitting in an empty club. You're happy." I said, "I lost it before. I'll lose it again, and I'll always make it back." I said, "As long as I'm healthy, this means nothing. I'm going to make it back. Trust me." So getting back to the 500,000, we get approved at the Golden Banner for 500,000. The next day, on a Tuesday, the Squire gets denied. My brother calls the bank and makes an amateur mistake. He says, "I don't understand. Why you deny us the money for the Squire? You just gave our sister club 500,000. Out of thin air, they take it back from us. The check wasn't even dried. They took it back. So now my brother calls the law department, calls them up. We're going to sue the bank, TD Bank, which we'll get to them in a second because TD Bank is the most corrupt bank in the entire system. They launder money for the cartel.
What are you smiling about, Chris?
So now they took the money and they put it pending in the air. So that 500,000, like you're waiting for a check to clear, it was pending in our account for almost a year. So finally, they give us the money after a year. But we're already going broke. They finally give us the money. Now the government 6 months ago is now coming back for all their money,
Oh yeah,
for all this PP money. So now they want us to give them back $1.5 million. So I'm like, where would you like me to pull up $1.5 million? Money was already used for employees. The money was used for what it was supposed to be used for. It was proper. I didn't go buy Ferraris. I didn't go on vacations. We gave it to the employees. We gave it to the payroll. So now we're in negotiation right now, with the IRS, about the money, and due to the prudent nature, we got to figure that
which
out.
means wise.
I think, you know what I'm saying? It means no idea. So when people, going back to the original story, when they say something was given to me, nothing was ever handed to me. I had people buy me dinner, yes. I had people take me on vacation, yes. But no one's ever going to hand me $1 million. I can guarantee you that.
No, I know that.
All right. Two things. The reason why the other company got more money is because they got a much better accounting firm, because that's what it came down to.
Right.
And I still want to know where the 1.5 came from the renovations.
Oh, so my partner, Mark, who owned Tens, was looking to retire. And I went up to him. I said, "You can't retire. You're going to become my partner." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're going to be my partner, the Banana. You put up the $1 million to renovate." He's like, "Well, I really don't want to do it." I said, "Mark, let's do this. And here's what I'm going to guarantee you. I will not take $1 paycheck. I will work for free, me and my brother, until your money's paid back." And that's exactly what we did. And it took us 16 months to pay back that money. So we worked for almost 2 years for free. So that's where the money came from.
Cool.
So
I like it where you took the old because I remember the Cabaret, I remember the Golden Banana, I remember the Squires as I was a kid, and it was always who in there, and it was always you go in there. but I like how you have built it almost like that Vegas type of look, and how many times you have changed it over. So, for instance, what makes you do what you did to design what you did?
So my partner Mark had a lot to do with it. He's been in the business a long time, over 30 years, and I've been running the Squire since I was 17 years old. So I knew the flow of, what to look for, how to build it, and how to design it to make it comfortable. So going back from when I ran the Squire, which you had school chairs and like long tables, to actually now you put design the furniture in. You're putting like nice cigar chairs. You're putting the stage. You want to see everything. The lighting is big. So we traveled so much, and it was funny because we went to look at different clubs, and my partner's like, everywhere we go, somebody. I said, I developed a good reputation. I said, you know what I'm saying? I said, can I say I'm a friendly person? So we actually pulled it to Centerfolds, and we go to park, and the guy goes, "Hey, Peter, how you doing?" I said, "Great." There's no charge. We're walking down the street. We're going by the Glass Slipper. Here's Mr. Hollywood. Guy comes out, gives me a big hug. Mark looks at me. I go, "I grew up the kid. He's my neighbor. He's from South Medford, right? Cedric, big, tall, good-looking black guy." And he's like, "Mr. Hollywood, what are you doing?" I said, "We're just going to have a drink." So Mark looks at me and goes, "Okay, that's two people." We go into Centerfolds. "Peter, how you doing?" He goes, "Listen, if I go to the table and the waitress knows your drink, I'm hitting you square in the head." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? Pete, would you like Stoli raspberry, a splash of crayon, and a lemon?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "I told you I'm friendly." So we were just going like bar hopping to look for different designs, different clubs. But a lot of the designs we got from like restaurants, banks. You just don't have to be in the nightclub business to get the flow of places. So you ask, like, in your business, what are you doing? I remember, oh, Felipe did that. You know what I'm saying? Or Chris would say something like that, or saying, and I remember what people would talk about, and then you design it that way. So, but we had no money. So I mean, people would pay like millions of dollars as designers. We did it ourselves from just research and development. So that's what happened.
So one of my questions, because I joke a lot about it. So there's no such thing as a casting couch.
Absolutely not.
So someone comes in and says, "Oh Jesus," Chris comes in and goes, "I want to dance at your club." How does that happen? How does someone apply to become a dancer? And what's the stipulation of being a dancer?
So I have house mothers.
You have what?
House mothers. That's what it was called back in the days. But the managers that strictly handle the girls.
Okay.
And they'll say to you, like, where have you worked before? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And then.
So you don't interview them?
No, I don't interview.
Okay.
So wait a minute. It's not like the movies I saw where they go in and they perform and act on you, and
that's all fictitious.
That's how they're hired.
It's the same thing when you see the movies when the guys have saved a deposit box with millions of dollars. That's fictitious also. It's a movie. But the casting couch, I'll be honest with you. I ran a restaurant for 20 years. And the girls that worked for me in that restaurant were more risque than any girl that worked for me in any nightclub. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. And anybody on the restaurant business, you can't deny this, because there's more hookups, there's more cheating going on in restaurants because you're with them all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. And everybody thinks because you take your clothes off, oh, you're going to be naturally, you're going to be a whore. You know what I'm saying? I had girls that worked for me that became nurses, lawyers, great mothers, school teachers,
gemologists.
Now, I also had people that were total fuck ups, you know what I'm saying? That went into drug rehabs, that overdosed. But in today's world, if I said to you, oh, how many people, did you have a problem with? I think 10% of my staff, is a problem with drugs. But compare that to like Amazon. I guarantee Amazon's 20% of their employees. Probably now with marijuana.
Talk about Amazon. Somebody just stole a package that was an Amazon driver, and I saw him take it.
Okay.
Off my step.
So I would bet anything. They just had I think Amazon, don't quote me, but I think Amazon or Home Depot has to now allow smoking marijuana in a drug test because 50% of their employees all smoke marijuana.
Absolutely.
So should we say they have a problem opposed to a club? But getting back to the story, there's no casting couch. There's no sex to get the job. There's no hanky-panky, whatever you want to call it. People come in and they actually audition, or if they have, if they worked at another club, my girlfriend works at Rhode Island, so she work here, no problem. Fill out the legal forms, fill out the paperwork, fill out your tax ID, all that stuff, and you go to work.
So you don't have to pass a Corey for this job.
Well, no, we don't do chorus. Let's not get crazy now.
So Peter and Chris, any questions?
No, I'll ask them as they come. I like the business end of it.
So personally, me, I appreciate our friendships, because you've been through a lot of stuff with me. Obviously you dealt with the divorce shit and all that crap also together. But also, because you gave me an opportunity, we developed a script together and we had a movie script written together.
Yes.
And then from there we worked through it. And because I'm hard-headed, we didn't do the movie things and things that we wanted to do with it. But from there we took it to a book level.
Right.
So obviously I gave you the book and I appreciate it. But there's some other stuff that's behind it that later on we'll discuss that's going to happen.
Nice.
Like I
Well,
said,
you gave me the book today, but I bought 3 books from Amazon months ago.
Yeah, I didn't tell
I
you
was
about
tired of waiting.
Well, the company just sent it. Like I said, it's a 2 free. It's a 2 free. But like, I know how generous you are.
Yes.
And it confuses me sometimes when I hear from people stuff. Sometimes I sit quiet and sometimes I speak up. But it's so interesting where you see someone like you that basically back in the Club 54 days with the Z Cavariccis to the Palace days to all these freaking days. And I've seen you wear so many different hats in your lifetime. And I'm very welcome to say that you're a very close friend and family member, that I would do anything for you. And I am so glad to see where you're at, and then seeing your kids grown and how successful they are in their career.
Thank you.
And to see all this stuff. And I wanted to have you on, and just like everyone's like, oh, when are you gonna have some friends on and this and that. And I kind of wanted to bring you on just due to the fact that you seem to be a part of my life everywhere I go. And as you said, I walk somewhere, people will say, oh, hey, Peter, this and that. Everything will be like, oh, yeah, I was with Peter the other night. And yeah, we got in a brawl, we got in this. And I'd be texting you going, what the hell were you doing last night? What are you talking about? I was working. I go, okay, whatever. And I would always text you, but I would.
The urban legend.
Yes, I would hear so many stories and all these lies about you and everything, And every time I hear something bad about you, I realize that it's because you have such big shoulders that everyone just wants to be part of you. And once you make that decision to move forward and they fall off, guess what they do? They need to start talking shit about you.
100%.
So, and it's sad to say that so many lies and so many things develop, and then so many people that because of where you're at and it's their way of disrespecting you, they're going to join that other side, hopefully to see you crash. I can validate by looking right at the screen to tell you, I've seen this guy fail so many times, and every time he's failed, he's come up 2 levels every time. So,
but don't forget, what people don't understand, we can have we'll talk about this in another time when I come back. Jealousy is a disease.
Absolutely.
I never had jealous bone in my body. If he turned around and made $1 million, I'm going to say, I hope you make 2. You need help? Let me help you make the 2. If this person, couldn't afford to buy a sandwich, I buy him a sandwich, because I believe people do need help. And why talk bad and talk shit about people? I'll give you a perfect example. I hate to use this because I don't want my head to be cocky, like my brother said, like I'm like a local celebrity or something like that. But everybody says they know Peter. And
they do.
And I'll tell you right now, this is the best story. I first opened the Golden Banana. Me and my partner, Mark. Guy goes, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. The security guy. I said, okay, go to the bathroom. I'll watch the door. My partner's sitting behind the desk. We're talking. What's going on? Watching TV. Watching, I think, the Bruins game. Guy walks in. I said, hey, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the Golden Banana. I said, $10 in your ID, please. He goes, I know where this one's going. He goes, I'm very friendly with Peter.
Yeah.
My partner kicked on the table. I said, oh, you know Peter? I talked to this guy for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And my partner's going, land the plane, right? So I said, why don't you do me a favor? I'm working here. I'm paying child support. I don't want to lose my job. Just give me the $10.
No.
Peter's such a nice guy, and you're such good friends with him that he'll come out of a meeting and he'll come over and get the $10. He goes, what a good idea. I get the $10 from him. He said, I cooked for him at the restaurant. He said, I cooked at his house. He said everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my partner goes, what are you going to do? I said, on the way out, I want to have my ID. And I want to go talk to him just like this. So he goes, oh, you can't do that. He'll never come back again. He's spending money.
Yes.
I said, but I want to break the guy's balls. He goes, leave it alone. I said, okay. So I left it alone.
I got a better one. I remember when you asked me, because when I had my security company go down there and help you guys out, and I had my guys set up there, whatever. So one night you said, hey, can you come down
Yes.
and work the door? And I said, yeah, all right, whatever, I'm bored. And no, I'm sorry. That wrong story. I didn't have my security company. I was going through a divorce. I had 3 jobs.
Yes.
I had my vitamin store. I basically was clam digging. I called you and I said, do you have any work for me? You said, do you need money? And I said, I didn't ask you that. I said, do you have work for me?
Yes.
And you said, absolutely. I went up there and worked at the Squires.
Yep.
And you said, whatever you need, bro, grab as many hours. And I do appreciate that. And I remember standing at that door and this gentleman walks in and I said $20. It wasn't $10, it was 20. And he says, oh, I don't pay here. And I says, oh, okay. I said, $20. He went to walk away. And he says, I'm very good friends with Peter. I'm in his office all the time. And I said, well, that's fine. You can call Peter. And when Peter comes down to grab you, that will be fine.
I bet you never even had my number.
No, what made me laugh was you just came down. You were talking to the DJ. You heard me with this guy. You were standing right to the left of my shoulder the whole time in your suit. And that guy kept
Everybody
saying,
knows Peter.
yep. And then you tapped me on my shoulder and I looked and you were laughing. And I go, once again, when you see Peter, contact him, pay me the $20. And then he had like 4 or 5, and it's the family. If you know, I'd like to say the names because I can't stand any of them, but I'm gonna let it go because I know they still show up. But he was like, I have four people, and I said, well, it's $80. And he got all pissed, walked forward, walked back, and then gave me the money and says, yeah, whatever. You need the money more than me. I go, yes, I do. And I put it.
I need to pay the electric bill.
Yeah, and then you laughed and you go, yeah, sometimes I do let them in. And I go, then why didn't you say it? You go, I didn't care.
Right.
I started laughing.
I'm not going to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're all like, yeah, you're doing your job. But, I just wanted people to get to know you and basically the real you.
Yes.
And not something outside of what they perceive about you. And all this shit about, oh, he does this.
Everybody watches movies and they see the clubs, save the deposit box. They live on an island, Ferraris. I drive a pickup truck,
Yeah.
But getting back to the, like you like the business part of it, it is a great business, but after COVID, it became very difficult because your insurance went from $30,000 a year to $120,000 a year. We had a big class action lawsuit where we had to pay $1 million fine for each club. That I wish my grandfather gave me that money to pay for it, the fine. But they don't talk about that. They don't talk about when Carmen Electra sued us and we had to give her.
I remember that.
I can't disclose it, but it was well over what I just said. I had to pay fine for each club.
Over a picture, right?
Over a picture. She said I was defamation of character. And I said to the judge, she had sex with Dennis Rodman on TV. I can't do any more damage than what that man did. I got fined. So from there, the business is good, but it's getting difficult because you get hit with all these different angles. You're getting sued all the time. Banks kick you out because they don't want you're considered. There's 3 businesses they don't like: ATMs, nightclubs, and art galleries, because they're worried about money laundering.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I said to you, I can solve the money laundering in one conversation. They said, what? I will give you my tax returns for the last 55 years. So if the tax returns show $1,000 every year for 50 years, and all of a sudden 1 year it's $1 million, bing, there's money laundering. But if it's the same number for 55 years, who's laundering money?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
So, but banks don't want the sex in their business, so you get kicked out of banks.
Didn't TD just get hit up for that for money laundering?
Well, TD
Yeah,
Bank.
it's
So
got a huge
it was
fine.
funny. I actually went to deposit money into my daughter's bank account, and they're like, "You have an ID?" No. They said, "Well, after March 31st, you're gonna need an ID to deposit money." I'm like, "It's $1,000." I said, right in front of the bank. I said, "So I'm getting penalized because your higher ups let the cartel launder all their money through the banks, and I bet you not one person's gonna go to jail. Not one person going to jail. I'm going to deposit $1,000 and I'm going to jail."
And you've had your account there
And,
forever.
and you're putting money in.
Right, I'm putting money in. It's not like
Let's see.
I'm taking it out, but they didn't like that conversation. So I'm going to be getting kicked out of that bank pretty soon. Guarantee that's going to happen.
So one thing also that I want to bring up, you don't only run Gentlemen's Club, you're also still being an entrepreneur. You're now doing buildings. You're being.
Well, I have several. I don't want to come off as I don't want to come off as bragging, but
how's it bragging, Peter? You came from fucking nothing and plain guy.
But I like to be humble. But
And
I mean, me and my brother
accomplished. You both of you have accomplished so much.
Me and my brother have.
This is what drives people to do and never give up.
We have a media company that has mobile billboard trucks called, Beantown Ads.
I'm still waiting for you to advertise my security.
Give me the JPEG file. You don't want to give it to me.
No,
It's
that's
okay.
a big word again.
I told you, give me the file. I'll put it on. We have Beantown Ads. I have my daughter and me have a company called Get Lit, which she does marquee lettering and chalk boards.
How would they get in contact with it? Do you have a website, Instagram?
Yeah, I'll give you all the stuff. I'll
say it online.
Let me pull it up.
You don't know your daughter's business?
Get Lit,
dude. Get Lit. But what is it? What's the Instagram? Let's get some.
I don't know what the Instagram is.
Something.
That's her job.
Listen,
I'll put her. I'll have her on the
party.
I'll have her on the podcast.
There you go.
So let me get this. So my daughter's company is Get Lit, and let me see that. It's getlitma.com.
Getlitma.com, everybody.
And then
getlitma.com. Check it out.
My media company is beantown.ads.com.
Yep. For anybody that wants to do some ads, I know I got some followers that own their own businesses.
I have a mobile bartending service where I can bring bartenders to your company.
Yes, I use you very well.
Called Behind the Bar.
Yep.
That's behindthebar.net. And then I recently, about a year ago, which is a great story, we're going to have her on the podcast. I opened up a coffee company with a friend of mine, Sylvia, called Via Guatemala Coffee.
Oh, I didn't know this.
And it's actually
where's my package? Where's my coffee?
I gotta bring you a bunch of stuff. So we have a coffee company that it goes from farm to cup. So
really?
In the coffee business, like Dunkin' Donuts, not saying anything bad about them, they're legendary. They roast their coffee 4 or 5 times, just open up 5-6 times before you get it.
Yeah.
Our coffee does not get open until you're drinking it. So it goes right from Guatemala right to your house.
Okay.
And there's no chemicals, no preservatives. We also just opened up a chocolate line. So we're doing,
Figures I gave up candy. I gave up sweets. So unless you're making fake stuff, I can't eat it. But
so you can look for us via GuatemalaCoffee.com, and we'll set something up where I get it, I get it to your followers. We'll figure out something like that.
We'll line some stuff
and
up
then
on the podcast.
Me and my brother, we've been doing it for probably 10 years. We build houses and we flip them. So we recently, this is one of my accomplishments. 2 years ago, my mother, obviously, she was a waitress for 22 years, raised 2 boys by herself. She could never buy a house. She never had the money to buy it. So me and my brother found a house. I'm going to get emotional now. Me and my brother found a house 2 years ago, and we gave it to her for a Christmas present.
Oh, my God.
And she had no idea. She thought she was going there to see my daughter buy a house because she's like, Amanda goes, Graham, me and Mike are thinking about buying a house. Can you please come look at it? So my mother walked in and she almost had a heart attack, and it was a good accomplishment. So my mom now has her own house now, which was a great thing for me and my brother to do.
That's an unbelievable thing.
But I'm always looking to hustle and stuff like that. And I like to invest. Like I'm big right now, for probably since COVID, it's the cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So everybody laughed when I sold my stock portfolio, cashed out, and started buying cryptocurrency. So I kept on telling.
He's one of them.
I kept on telling.
I do the same.
Dude, crypto, you can make money, but it's like musical chairs.
Okay, so I'm not a day trader.
But when all of a sudden,
nobody
wants it.
So listen, I'm not a day trader, so I heavily invested in a company called XRP.
Yeah.
I was buying at 7 cents, 20 cents. I'll never forget, my friend called me up. Quick, you gotta buy XRP. It's $1.50. Cash the house in it. I said, buddy, I told you this 3 years ago when it was 7 cents. Click. So XRP now is going to be the new banking system.
Yeah.
I don't care how anybody says it.
I would like to thank Galand out of Lynn. Johnny Galand got me in it a long time ago, XRP.
So I can tell you one thing right now. you're going to see when XRP hits $1,000, Peter running up Route 1 naked. And that's when you know.
That'll be the day my
That's when
cameras
you
are on.
know that I cashed in.
Peter Stockenaughton. Everybody that knows you, especially close to me, you don't have to win that much money to get naked. You just do it anyways.
I'm going to be running up Route 1 naked. So XRP, I'm big into that. But I was just down in Florida, and a friend of mine, Daniel, he had a college roommate who's a hustler, an entrepreneur like me, and he's going after the legging market, Lululemon, with the pants. So he opened up a company called Tono. And if anybody knows,
I'm familiar with Tono.
So I just put some money into that company because they're going after the women's market with the stretch pants, because a lot of these pants companies now have forever chemicals inside their clothing, which is hurting the girl's vagina. The chemicals going into it, they're having a lot of problems. The company that I just invested in has 0 chemicals in their pants. So hopefully that turns out 4
Just to
years.
let you know, my wife wears a size 4.
I have some in the car. No
All right,
problem.
all right, honey,
Before we leave, she's getting it.
She likes blue.
She ain't getting the
Blue.
meatballs. She's
Yeah,
getting
no
the stretch
meatballs.
pants.
I'll take the pants. I'll take the
She can
pants.
take the pants.
No hairy
Take the
meatballs.
I haven't. So I'm gonna have to drop off a swag bag. I should have brought some shirts. I'll bring a bunch of. We're gonna have to have another round 2 of the podcast.
No.
And I'll bring all the
Hey,
stuff.
I got a thing for you. I don't know if you remember this or you even got on your radar, and I'm guessing 4 or 5 years ago, there was this guy who was running from the cops left and right, ran from us 3 or 4 times. And one of the last pursuits I had, he crashed in your banana parking lot.
Well,
it was 4 years. He kept on running. They gave me permission to pursue, which is,
right.
unbelievable. And, we're going on Route 1 because as soon as you get off the highway.
Did he crash at the gas station or he crashed?
No, he crashed in the front parking lot of your banana. The banana is here and there's some trees in between the banana.
Oh, that's
and
where the sign is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He crashed right there. And then there's
Did you catch him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What is the next one? Mobile homes or something?
Yes, across.
Yeah. Because he crashed there. I brought the dog out. We were running through the woods running through the woods.
Love the dog.
And then he was up on top of a mobile home. And of course, this person on the canine unit.
Was it a Belgian Malinois?
No, Shepherd.
Shepherd, okay.
But she came in and she's like, yeah, I got, and took all the glory and everything else, and I had the pursuit and I had everything. And she's like, she just took all the glory. And
well, we had a lot of incidents at the banana. We cracked a case. My son did actually as a kid. There was a guy. He was robbing 2 ATM machines every night, every week to a different city. So he came in, he staked out the Cabaret and the banana, and they couldn't catch this guy for years. And so nobody knows at the banana, we take the drawer out of the ATM machine out front every night and we hide it into our big safe. So no one knew that. So all of a sudden we got robbed. So I have to go down. I had my son at the time. Me and my son went there and I'm looking and I said, well, they didn't get anything because we take the money out. But they watched this guy on camera, dressed up all black ninja suit, had 3 watches. He's walking. He knew how to walk in between the shadows of the camera. He clicked his watch, drilled the door open, popped it. He slid on his knees, hit the ATM machine, zipped it out. The guy who owns the ATM machine says, Peter, it takes me an hour to measure to find exact location to drill that safe. This guy did in 30 seconds. So we're watching him, and my son goes, Dad, that guy's gay. He goes, the detective goes, what'd you just say? He said, the guy running, look the way he's running. He's like a cartoon character that I watched. He's gay. The detective started staking out the gay clubs in Boston. They caught the guy 3 weeks later.
Really?
They said, we've been chasing this guy for years. For years. And he goes, you want to press charges? Absolutely not. I want to make a movie about this guy.
I want to just say something. You run the way you run. It doesn't mean you're gay. It doesn't mean you're straight. It doesn't mean anything.
I'm just letting you know what my son said. That's how they caught him. So
running like this is bad.
From there, we
Leave
also
that
had
alone, Chris.
I mean, what other crazy stuff can I tell you? I mean, how crazy you want to go? Like, I have dancers that came up to me one time, and I'll never forget. My brother was at a golf tournament, and I must have been working 100 hours that week, and I'm leaning back, and I must have fell asleep in like one of the champagne rooms like this. I don't know if I was sleeping for an hour or 10 minutes. Wake up, Peter. What's the matter? It's stuck. I'm like, excuse me? Hold on, let me get a water. What? It's stuck. I need your help. You got to find it. I'm like, what's stuck? She goes, my tampon. I said, honey, see the bar over there? She goes, yeah. I see
Uh,
see the bar over there? I said, yeah. There's not enough alcohol behind that bar for me to go find it. Call your boyfriend, get a pair of tongs, and good luck.
oh,
That's what the house mother's for.
That's not a story I want to hear.
What other funny stuff can I tell you? I mean, it's just we should do a series, and I'll bring some girls in about some crazy stuff that happens behind the scenes.
No, I would love that. I know we had discussed a girl that you would like to bring in, and that would be great. My Winnie states that's her job.
Yes, it
because
is.
she's a doctor.
Right.
So if you have that issue, please go to Karen Farrell in Winchester and Dr. Wong and tell them that you're willing to do this. She says, Pete, you can read that one.
I have to pull it out. The woman forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
Well,
they-
it becomes toxic. They get
Could
sick.
die.
They can die. They have to. They
Yeah.
have to find it.
I saw something on a TV show about it. So what I wanted to say was, obviously I held you for an hour and I know you have some other stuff going on. Chris, anything for Peter?
No, I want to talk to him about his, well, you don't got time today, but I'd like to hear about some of his worst experiences, which you learned the most from, right?
Absolutely. We definitely have to come back. So
Yeah.
I would say let's do like the week of May 5th. We'll come back and we'll
Right.
do a 2-hour segment. And we
No,
actually
we love it.
I'll actually come back. I'll come back every month. You know what I'm saying? Because
that'd be
I believe there's so much good stories and funny stories that we could talk about. I mean, it's just stuff that happens in my life is amazing.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no, definitely.
remember
I like-
we had the Mark Wahlberg fighter party at the restaurant. We had
Yeah.
with Mickey Ward. I mean, we had golf tournaments. We had I'll tell you about the Golden Banana Golf Tournament, which got banned from every country club in Massachusetts. But they forget to tell you we raised $20,000 for domestic violence. So they only kicked us out of the golf course. But that's because we had caddies that didn't have their clothes on.
Were they supposed to?
Well, it's not my fault. They're adults. If they took them off, that's their business.
But
But
listen,
anyhow, there's a lot of good stories. We could talk behind the scenes. We could talk about the funny stuff, the worst moments and stuff like that. We could talk about, how I lost everything and started back up again. I mean, I'll never forget the time. I never wanted to go home. We had rented an apartment and we couldn't pay our rent for 11 months. I'm like, what are we going to do? And the owner says, I have faith in you. Don't worry about it. You'll end up paying me. You know what I'm saying? At the time, he wanted me to buy the place for $165,000. I said, I'm 11 months behind. I don't have any money.
no.
That same condo today goes for $1 million.
Wow. That was the
So,
one in Lynn?
yeah, right next to
Yeah.
Seaport Landing.
Yeah.
The place is beautiful. 3 bedrooms on the water. It was
That
great.
is gorgeous. I know some people
Yeah.
live down there. They built this Blue Fox or something like that.
Blue Ox.
Blue Ox.
Blue Ox
That
is
place
good.
Everyone goes down
Yeah,
there.
but I found a better restaurant.
Down there?
I call it the G Spot, but it's called the G Bar in Swampscott.
So what, is that the one that used to be the red whatever?
No,
the
that's
water?
Mission on the Bay. That's red.
Mission on the-
But this is up from Mission on the Bay.
All right,
so
everybody used to go down there.
We'll have to go visit the G Spot.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Listen, Peter, I'm definitely going to hold you accountable for that, for a monthly revisit. And obviously, we still talk. So,
Yeah.
But I would love to have you back on as a guest, and I would love to hear more stories and build up. I personally would love to appreciate your time that you spent with us. And if anybody has any questions that they didn't have an opportunity to write or whatever, because I know it's always at 12:30 during office times.
Write them
and
down.
stuff.
We'll talk about it next week.
Definitely write
Next
it down. And then obviously I met one of Peter's associates yesterday at a sushi place. So and I do apologize. I know your big boyfriend's name was Ben. And what was her name?
Ben,
The two I met last night. She was on the phone with you.
was you on the phone with me or my brother?
She was on the phone with you.
Oh.
Hey, so you got her. You said you were gonna call her.
That's funny.
He forgot you. But anyways, I'd just like to say thank you so much, Peter, and everyone. Thank you so much. Everyone have a blessed day. Anything from you, Chris?
No, that was great. That was
Thank you.
interesting.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Make sure there's no live mics.